Welcome to Out of the Stacks with Carla and Amanda, where we talk about books and the literary world.
Then we'll visit the past with things from our childhood. There may be a rant or two, but we promise you laughs and a good time.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Out of the Stacks. This is Amanda.
And Carla.
Okay, and we are doing our latest episode, and this is nonfiction. Carla, why don't you get us started since this was your idea to do nonfiction?
Okay. So I was thinking about what haven't we just talked about yet? And nonfiction popped up in my head, and I started thinking about the books that I enjoyed as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this series of biographies in the children's section when I was little at my little local library. And I think I read all of them, and I could not figure out what they were called. I knew it was a series. I was picturing these square hardcover books, but I couldn't figure out what they were. So I was Googling vintage children's biographies, trying to figure it out. So I finally did figure it out. The series is called Childhood of Famous Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually still make them, but the way they look now, I would never pick it up. The covers are so ugly. So I bought one. I found one online on Thrift Books because eBay was whoa, expensive. Because apparently I'm not the only person who thinks these are cool. So I found one on Thrift Books. It's Molly Pitcher.
Oh, okay.
Girl Patriot. So what these are is they're biographies, but they're, like they say, they're about the childhood of these people. So It's kind of here's what this person was like when they were a child that led to them becoming what they were as an adult. So it really doesn't, it's not about them as an adult at all. But it has facts and stuff in the back. It's got pictures. This one's kind of rough, not gonna lie. It was an old school library copy, I think. It has a spine label. It's got a book jacket, and on the inside, I just noticed this. It says, "Please wash your hands before you read me and keep me clean."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's the copyright is 1960 on this one. But these were just so good. And if you look them up, you would recognize what they look like now. They're they're paperback, I think. I don't think they come in hardcover. These were always hardcover. And they're red, white, and blue, and kind of generic looking, honestly. But I loved them, and I read all of them because they have them about everybody. I really enjoyed Abigail Adams, Dolly Madison, Martha Washington, the wives of presidents. I remember reading those. And they have people you wouldn't think of, inventors and soldiers, entertainers, Indians. Inside the cover, it lists all the books they have. They're really cool. I don't know if they're written in the same style. I should have researched this. But I really loved them as a child. So that was kind of what got me interested in nonfiction. And also the other nonfiction that I read as a child was, I want to say that they were made by DK, and it was how to care for your hamster. How to care for your puppy.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a hamster really badly. I still have never had a hamster, but I was ready.
Yeah.
I was ready because I read all about them. That was my go-to nonfiction as a child, was the biographies and
animal
how to care for, I was ready for the possibility of any kind of pet. Probably not a snake though. I wouldn't have read about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you have? Did you have a go-to nonfiction as a child?
I couldn't recall I did read nonfiction. I mean, I read everything as a child, but I didn't really have a specific that I could recall. I do remember, and I remember the corner because my childhood library is the library I use now, the main library
Mhm.
of Peoria Public Library.
Mhm.
Um, I remember going into the children's library corner, and it was like literally the corner. I
Mhm.
would go, and it would be the set of, I don't know if it would be like, but it was like homophones and like
Oh.
the matching like grammar things, like
Uh-huh.
I can't recall right now. Well, yeah, like homophones and words that would sound alike but didn't have the same meaning, and all those
Homonyms.
type of weird English, but they were like red covers. And I read that series maybe like, I mean, forever, like all the time. And I don't know why that I was so interested, but it was like, homophones and gramophones, and I don't know what that
Yeah. Yeah.
series is, but I'm sure
Yeah.
Miss Nina would know
Yeah.
exactly the series I would be talking about.
Yeah, I bet you
Yeah.
would.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
said, you read everything as a child, and I think that's why I went over to the nonfiction side. Like, I read everything. So our children's room was in the basement. It was an old Carnegie building. So you went downstairs, and it was like magical because it was an entire room, and you could read any book in that room. And the nonfiction was on the side opposite from the picture books, but I just like I had no restrictions. I could read
Yeah.
what I wanted, and so I just like
Yeah.
I read all the books, all of them.
Yeah. I would pick like one section of fiction and one section of nonfiction and just, pick from both sides.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So, I didn't I feel like there was like a void in my life where I didn't read at all. Like high school, college, because you can't it's like that time in your life when you can't read for pleasure
Yeah.
because you have to read so much assigned reading. I didn't really pick up adult fiction until or nonfiction until like the last 10 years maybe. But I have like three books that kind of represent different kinds of nonfiction I've read. I'm not a how-to person. Like
No.
I'm not all about that. I'm not all about um like the really popular nonfiction book this year has been Glennon Doyle's Untamed. Is that what it is? Untamed.
Yeah, I
And
haven't tried that.
that's like how to make yourself a better person. And like
Yeah.
that's I have
No.
no interest at all.
I've tried, yeah, the how-tos and all that, but I can never get into those. I mean, I can't.
No, no. So like I've always I guess been drawn to nonfiction that's still like a story about people.
Yes.
Um
Yes.
this one that I've had for a long time, and I believe it was weeded from my local library. No, it was weeded from the high school library. That's right. So my community, two towns had their own high schools and they combined. They consolidated to one high school. And my mom was the junior high librarian when I was in junior high, and she inherited all the books from one of the high schools. And so this was weeded from one of those high school libraries. And I don't remember how I came to be in possession of this book, but it is My Wild World by Joan Embry. And Joan Embry was best known as a guest on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson because she worked for the San Diego Zoo. She was their wild animal ambassador, and she would be the person who would go on Johnny Carson
Oh,
with all the
okay.
animals, and show them off on Johnny Carson. And so this is her autobiography, memoir. I don't know what's the difference between a memoir and an autobiography. I don't even know. Um, And
Well,
this
there's
is,
some distinction, I'm sure.
yeah, I just don't know what it is. But this is all about Joan Embry and how, like, she basically had no education in zoology. It's been a while since I've read this, so I don't know exactly, I don't remember what her education was, but she kind of stumbled upon this job at the San Diego Zoo and just stumbled upon the chance to be the person to go on the Johnny Carson show, and it made her really famous.
That'd be
Um,
so much fun. Honestly,
yeah,
I would love a job like that.
she like had an elephant that she taught how to paint, and that was like one of the things that she would go on Johnny Carson. The elephant's name was Carol, and she would take Carol on the Johnny Carson show, and Carol would paint. So it was like a thing, and I don't remember how she got this elephant either. Like, I need to reread this book because I read it and I thought that is the coolest thing ever. That's what I want to
Mhm.
do with my life.
No
And then
kidding.
I went to college and majored in English, so that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
Do you have a nonfiction book you want to share?
I do have a nonfiction book I want to share. It is so we've talked about my love of true crime and serial
Yeah.
killers. And one of my
You
favorite
just
books,
love the serial killers.
I do. I love the serial killers. And one of my favorite books is Devil in the White City by Eric
Mm.
Larson. And it's the story of H. Holmes and the hotel he designed for his serial killing during and around the World Fair in Chicago in 1893. And Eric Larson is known for his detailed writing and also storytelling like of
It's like
nonfiction.
narrative nonfiction.
Yeah, narrative nonfiction. That's exactly. So yeah, I like nonfiction that's narrative like you do. If I mean I like nonfiction that is. I mean nonfiction is fact based, but you know if it's dry, if it's not telling a story, then it's hard to get through. I like narrative nonfiction. So he takes the tale of H. Holmes and his perverse life that leads up to the World's Fair and how he becomes, one of America's most known and popular serial killer. And
Mm-hmm.
so Larson describes how Holmes builds this hotel with a purpose of housing the fairgoers and how Holmes, will select. It's mostly women
Mm-hmm.
to pick off and torture and kill, and so I mean it's not it's gruesome in the facts, but it's not overly
It's not like
gruesome.
graphic.
Yeah, it's not graphic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really good book. It's been in the works to be a movie for over a decade. But in 2019, Hulu picked it up, and Scorsese and DiCaprio are
Mm.
working on it, and I think Hulu is making it into a series instead of a movie. So,
You'd almost have to like
yeah,
tell
to
the full
build up
story.
to it and
Yeah.
go through all the murders and to get caught and it's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And it's interesting because I'm thinking about like this shows how people read books differently. Like, you read it for the true crime. I enjoyed that, but I also enjoyed like the architecture side of it because
yeah, that
it's
was
like
really
two
neat
stories.
because also in the story, the other side of the story is it talks about the World's Fair in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, and that was really neat part of it as well. And I wish we had World's Fairs.
I know.
It was really amazing to read that part
Yeah.
about the
Um,
and that. I mean,
I've been on, you can take an architectural tour on the Chicago River.
yeah, I've been on one of those.
Yeah, and they talk about some of the buildings and the architects that are in that book. So
Oh, okay.
that's kind of neat. It's Burnham. Burnham, was that his name? There's
Yes.
the building, the Rookery. The Rookery
Yeah.
is still in existence. And I have a friend actually who is an architect. She lives in Columbus, Ohio, but her company has an office in the Rookery also. So like her architectural firm has an office in the
Art.
building that was built by one of the most famous architects. I mean, that I know of. Maybe there are more famous architects.
Yes.
I haven't read a lot about architects.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really cool.
So
That's
that
cool.
actually, we had talked about the idea of a gateway nonfiction, and that
Mhm.
actually was like one of my examples of gateway nonfiction. So it's
Yeah.
the idea, we're trying to give ideas. If anyone listening is like, oh, I don't like nonfiction, I don't want to read it, I never
Yeah.
read nonfiction, like, so books that you can try that don't read like nonfiction, but they are, that can maybe like help you get comfortable with reading nonfiction. And that was going to be like one of my examples, Devil in the White City. It's also a super popular book that maybe, I don't know, for me, like when a book is super, super popular, I don't want to read it because I don't know, I'm stubborn or something.
No, I get it. We
Yeah.
read it before it was super popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's been years since I read
Yeah,
it.
that was, I don't know. I don't know what year it was
Hmm.
done. Let
Yeah.
me see.
So, um, yeah, you find that date.
Let's see. It was. It's not going to tell me. I mean, early 2000s,
Yeah.
early 2003.
Okay. Wow.
2003. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah.
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 So I have 14 Goodreads friends who have read it and 7 who want to read it. And that's
Yeah.
probably like all of my friends on Goodreads because I don't have a whole lot.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So then transitioning with books that everyone read that I didn't want to read. I
Mhm.
think I got this as a Christmas present one year, The Blind Side.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was famously a movie
Movie.
starring Sandra Bullock. She won an Oscar. It's about Michael Orr, this boy, young black man who they take in their family. Like she just like sees him and she's like, come home with me and take him in. They are a rich white family living in Kentucky. Is it Kentucky
Yeah, I think it's Kentucky.
or Nashville? I don't know. It's been a while since I read this one too. This is really a glowing recommendation from me. Anyway, so we all know the movie, or a lot of people know the movie, that they take this young man in and he becomes a star of the football team and he gets a scholarship to Ole Miss. They adopt him. He becomes a professional football player. So the book is about that, yes, but a large part of the book is how this boy is failed by the system. It dives much more deeply into the fact that when they knew him, when they found him, he could not read. Like he was in high school, he had been passed along from grade to grade, but he could not read. There were, quotas they had to meet. They couldn't fail too many students, but also like they didn't want to take the time to really give the students the help they needed. And so he made it all the way to high school and was illiterate, basically, and knew nothing. So it's part football story, part like examination of the education system in the US. And it's fascinating. It's very different from the movie. You know, the movie is much more dramatized and there's a lot of creative license, but the book is really interesting. And I found the same thing to be true when I read Orange is the New Black. Have you read that?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's really good. It's nothing like the series. The series is more like crazy women in prison. The book is why the prison system is terrible, basically. Like, you put an educated white woman in prison, and she's going to come out of prison telling you everything that is broken in the criminal justice system. And it's
I
just
hope
like,
so.
yeah, oh, it's crazy. That's almost my whole stack of books that I have here.
Okay. My turn. My next one is this was one I accidentally found.
Good.
Yeah, I have a problem, Carla.
Well, we
I
all do.
I download free books on my Kindle. I
Oh,
have many thousands on my Kindle or in the cloud, my Kindle cloud, and I don't know what they are. And so one day I charged up my Kindle and I was scrolling through and I thought, oh, okay, I'll read this one. And it was phenomenal. It's called The Winter Fortress: The Epic Mission to Sabotage Hitler's Atomic Bomb by Neil Bascom. For 2 years, the Nazis were occupying Norway, and with it, the Vemmark hydroelectric plant. For the Allies, Vemmark must be destroyed for reasons. The British Special Operations Executive Force gathered together a brilliant scientist and 11 refugee Norwegian commandos who, with a little more than parachute skis and Tommy guns, they must destroy Hitler's nuclear ambitions and help end the reign of the Third Reich. The story is amazing. The mission had to be aborted and restarted like 3 or 4 times. Their weather was terrible because it's like up in the Norwegian mountains. So there's like massive snowstorms. The weather, like every day, the weather's terrible. So they couldn't fly in, or if they flew in, they were dropped and miles off of course, and they're having to like long ski into these terrible conditions. Several of the teams had to like hide in these broken down cabins and nearly freeze to death. And there's injuries, and it's just action packed. But finally, they complete their mission. And as we all know in history, the Nazis do not develop the atomic bomb. It's like I said, it's really exciting, and I know a lot, and I've read a lot about World War II, and I had no idea this was a thing. I mean, that they came really close, because this hydroelectric plant developed something called heavy water,
Yeah.
and so I mean, it was a really good book,
Yeah.
and it,
Okay.
I was like, what?
Have you read Bomb: The Race to Build and Steal the World's Most Dangerous Weapon? It's by
No.
Steve Sheinkin. So part of it is the story of that mission in Norway.
Okay.
It was a young adult nonfiction book.
Oh.
It has, so like the picture of the cover has 4 different award medallions on it.
Okay.
It maybe got like the Prince. I'm not sure. It got a whole bunch of stuff. It was a National Book Award finalist. It's all about the US and the other countries during World War II that were trying to build atomic bombs. And it's really like my feeling after reading that book was like, no one ever should have tried to build an atomic bomb, because it
I
also talks about
agree.
the implications for like today, that it lists the number of nuclear weapons existing in the world, and like basically if nuclear war happens, none of us are going to survive. The entire planet would be destroyed with the amount of nuclear weapons that are currently present on Earth. So like, don't make Russia mad.
Yes.
But like also Russia knows that if they shoot a nuclear weapon at us, we're going to shoot one at them and then everybody dies. So maybe that's what keeps Russia from shooting at us and vice versa. I don't know.
That's Russia, but North Korea, oh,
Yeah, them too.
that's a crazy different thing.
Yeah, and we probably don't actually know how many atomic weapons are present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a really good book if you
Okay. I
like
marked it on
childhood.
my to read list. If you want to know more about that, the Norwegian, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I flew through that book because I could not put it down. It
I
was
like
just,
I
wow.
like learning about those like aspects of World War II that we didn't know about.
I know. I don't know why
Because
this was a bigger thing.
yeah,
Because,
there's a lot we do know,
yeah.
but then there's a lot that we have no clue happened.
I don't know, because maybe we as Americans don't know because it was a British Norwegian thing.
Yeah, maybe in Norway it's like maybe they have like a holiday after it or something.
Maybe, but this was, I mean, it was a really well written book, and it was amazing what these guys went through.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was, now that
Yeah.
I'm
I
thinking
should
back, and I'm just like, wow, so
And you got it for free?
yeah, it was, yeah, free at some point in my
Yeah, that
years
is
of,
a really dangerous thing that you can do with your Kindle. And maybe we can do an entire episode on Kindle ownership. Um,
yes,
but
that'd be
it
good.
wouldn't be like about good Kindle ownership, because it doesn't sound like either one of us is a good Kindle owner.
No,
Because yes, I also have many, many free titles that let's face it, I'm not gonna read.
no,
Unless you put me on a desert island that has an outlet or like a solar charger, because I'll need to recharge my Kindle.
yeah,
Unless you
no,
put me somewhere and all I have to read is what's on my Kindle,
Kindle, yeah,
not gonna happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine. I would never have to reread a book. I mean, I have
Yeah.
multiple thousands of titles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
bad.
keep
It's weird.
coming.
Yeah. There are always new ones. People keep writing books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more book I want to talk about.
Okay, I have another book too, so go ahead with
Okay,
your.
that's fine. I might think of another one. Who knows?
Okay.
Band of Brothers.
Yes.
So, have you read it?
Not read it, but I love the series. I need to
Yeah.
read the book.
So I've seen the series, I don't know how many times. Like, we watch it at least once a year. It's so good. If
Love
anyone
that series
if there's anyone
so
out there
much.
who hasn't seen Band of Brothers,
Where
watch
are
it.
you? Who are you?
Yeah. So I was like, I should really read the book. And I listened to the audiobook. And according to Goodreads, that was in 2014. So 6 years ago. Honestly, I've seen the series so many times that I cannot separate that from the book. So I don't really remember. And I honestly think that the series is so close to the book
Okay, that's good.
that like there weren't any glaring differences. the book goes into more detail, but it's just fascinating. It is kind of long. The author, Stephen Ambrose, has written other books about World War II that kind of fascinate me. Like he wrote one about D-Day, and I haven't read them yet because it's like kind of a commitment.
Yes.
So, but Band of Brothers is just so fascinating. For anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's about the men of E Company. They were an airborne company, which means they jumped out of airplanes. They were involved in like every major European campaign from D-Day to the end. They jumped in on D-Day. They were helped free Holland. They went to Bastogne, the forest in Belgium, and like spent a terrible winter in Bastogne. They found Hitler's eagle's nest and like drank all his alcohol. Like they were involved in so many of these things, and they were one of the tightest. Like they were brothers. They were this company that was very, very close. So just fascinating character studies, but also like the different missions they were on were fascinating also. So Band of Brothers, Believe the Hype. What are your books?
My next one is, and this one, it's not narrative nonfiction. It's okay. It's called The United States of Absurdity, The Untold Stories from American History. It's by Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds. It's by the co-hosts of my favorite podcast, The Dollop. The Dollop is a podcast that tells stories from American history, people and events from American history. They tell the most obscure and hilarious stories. It's not what you would think as like American history. I mean, it's stories like 10-cent beer night, Jackson cheese, the Kentucky meat shower. It's just, I mean, I listen to these guys and just cry laughing. I mean, I remember one night I'm just listening to these guys and I'm laughing so hard, like I can't breathe. I'm hyperventilating. They're hilarious. This podcast, I could not recommend it hard enough to listen to this podcast. They're so funny, and they gathered a book. There's stories that they've gone over, but the stories that they've done in their podcast, they've done these more detailed. There's pictures, there's further details that they've done, and it's just a hilarious book. So when we say that this could be a gateway, it's one of those nonfiction that you can sit, pick up anytime. You don't have to like follow, a story through the whole thing. You can do it in bits and pieces because it's just short stories. These guys are the two of the funniest people I know, and they're really funny together. And I just love this book and their podcast, The Dollop. I mean, I would tell everybody I knew, please listen to these guys because they're so funny. And they're just weird stories, weird people, from American history up until, probably a couple of, I mean, they've been doing this podcast since I think 2014. So it's been a long running podcast and they've yet to run out of stories. So that shows you Americans.
Okay. I thought of one more.
Okay.
And I guess like a lot of the nonfiction I read is because I've heard about it. I guess I don't like browse the nonfiction and pick something up off the shelf. So this one is Fair Game: My Life as a Spy, My Betrayal by the White House by Valerie Plame Wilson. Have you read it?
No, but I think that's
So,
on my to read.
yeah, she was a CIA operative. Her husband was an ambassador. He was a former ambassador, and he like wrote an op-ed saying what I didn't find in Africa. And it was 2003. It was all about like weapons of mass destruction, and it basically outed his wife as a CIA operative. Like, made her name public. Um and so she wrote this tell-all book about the truth about weapons of mass destruction. And the book is interesting visually, because large parts of it are redacted. So you
Really?
can be reading along and you'll like flip a page and all you'll see are black lines and maybe like two words on the page, because she wasn't allowed to reveal everything. Like some of it was classified. So you can be flipping through and it'll be just pages and pages of black lines and maybe a little bit of information. And again, it's been a while since I read this one, so I don't remember my exact impression. They did make a movie out of it though, starring like Naomi Watts, maybe.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Which I don't think really did credit to the book. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was much more sensationalized. I feel like a lot of the books I read are because I like saw a movie they were based on or something, and I was like, I want to read what this is really about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my last one. Do you have one more?
Okay. I mean, I have so many more, but I don't know if we
Uh-huh.
should keep talking
Yeah.
or move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, we don't
Um,
have to. There are lots more.
yeah, there
There's
are
lots of
tons
good
more.
nonfiction out there.
Maybe we'll do like a part 2 of nonfiction.
We could.
Um, we can go on to the next segment that we want to talk about. TV cartoon remakes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of them in the past year and this year.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest one is Animaniacs. Hulu has released it. I think it just was this Friday,
Yeah.
November 2020.
Yeah. Just a couple
Um,
days ago.
I was in my teens when it first was a show, and I liked it, and I have such like fond memories associated with the
Mm-hmm.
show. I don't know if I'll watch it. I haven't really heard
I don't
reviews
know.
either way.
I think I'm like mildly curious. I might watch it. We'll see. It was just kind of what the name implies. Like, it's just nonsense,
Yeah,
but I think that's fun.
yeah,
But also, I feel like our dear friends Yakko, Wacko, and Dot really have like good intentions.
yes.
They're just, they're like little children, and they really shouldn't be left alone, I think, is the
Yeah,
moral of the Animaniacs story.
yes. And, like you said, the title implies that they're animaniacs. And
Yeah.
I don't know, as an adult, I might not want them to be as crazy as I found enjoyable as a teenager. I might just
Right.
be like, sit down. And so I don't
Right.
want to,
Hmm.
I don't want to mar that beautiful, fond memory. And so, I mean, I'll see what people say about
Hmm.
it, but I don't know if I'll watch it or not. But that was one of, I think, the
Hmm.
biggest remakes that people are
Hmm.
looking forward to. I also, when I was looking up cartoon remakes, that they're remaking the Jetsons, but it
What?
but it's going to be a live action Jetson,
What?
which I'm like, pretty much that was my reaction.
That's like when they made those Flintstone movies.
Yes.
With
I want the cartoon Jetsons.
With Mark Addy, who played
Fred.
Robert Baratheon, was Fred.
Well, yes.
And like Rosie O'Donnell, was she Betty Rubble? And Rick Moranis was Barney.
Yes.
And Elizabeth Perkins was Wilma. Where did I get all those?
I don't know.
Holy
you need
cow.
to get them out of your head.
I did enjoy, was it Holly Rockabye Baby is like when Pebbles is born? But that was a cartoon.
Yeah.
And then they made one about Pebbles and Bam Bam getting married.
No.
A Yabba Dabba Doo?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, it's so good. Look it up.
No. Also, Rugrats is being remade.
What?
Yes. Nickelodeon is remaking them. That should be 2021. It's also following the Pickles children, but they're going to remain children like they were in the original show. So it's not like
they've not aged.
Yeah, it's not going to be like the Tommy and Angelica.
Like Tommy had a kid.
Yeah, no, they're going to be the children. So they're saying like the original, watchers of the show can share it with their children. And so I was like, oh, okay.
A reboot that I was excited about and now I'm not excited about is DuckTales. Because have you seen it?
No, I've not seen it.
They look different. The animation is different.
Oh, okay.
Like if anything, it looks like worse animation. Like we've regressed in time. Like the technology is not as good or something. I don't know. It looks weird. They don't look the same.
Huh.
And I haven't actually watched an episode because I just can't. But you can watch the original on Disney Plus. So I have watched some of the original.
Okay.
And it's, as fascinating as I remember it being.
Yeah.
Which is maybe not that fascinating.
But the only reason I would watch the remake is David Tennant, but I mean, I thought people loved it. He's Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, people loved it, and I think it's gotten 3 seasons, and they're waiting for an answer on a 4th season.
Oh, so. I don't know. It's also like, at some point you have to realize that you've gotten older and you are no longer the target audience for this show.
Agreed.
So
yeah. Netflix also remade Magic School Bus.
Ooh, I have not watched the remake.
Yeah, I loved that show. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in Miss Frizzle's class?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, hello.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. My cousin, she's 6 years younger than I am. So she's fully an adult now. But like 10 years ago, not quite 10 years ago, my oldest sister was living in New York City and we went out to visit her and took our little cousin along. She was just like, I don't know, 16, 17 at the time. And we went to the Scholastic building. So like Scholastic Publishers has a store on the first floor of their building. And they have a Magic School Bus inside. And my cousin, my like 17-year-old cousin, lost her mind that there was a Magic School Bus. And I have a picture of her pretending to drive the Magic School Bus.
I would have done the same.
I mean, like, it's not like a full-size Magic School Bus. It's a smaller version. Like you can walk through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she lost her mind. It was crazy.
I would have done the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a great show. To shrink it down and to go to all these scientific.
Like you can go inside a person.
Yes, that was I think everybody's favorite episode.
Ralphie had a stomach ache, right? And they went inside Ralphie.
It's a great show. I didn't know. I knew it was being remade, but it is on Netflix now as of August.
Oh yeah, because
So,
who's voicing Miss Frizzle?
Kate McKinnon.
Oh, she'd be great at that.
So I think it's Kate McKinnon.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So, and there's a whole load of people. So it's
Oh, I should
just
watch it.
me too. So
Me
I was
too.
like, I knew it was being remade, but it's out already. I'm like, yes. I need to up my science. My science, refresh my science knowledge. So
yes, maybe they can do an episode on the coronavirus and why it's not fake. Oh,
that's not a bad idea. Honestly, they should put that on YouTube so it can be shared around the world. Anyway, there's an honorable mention that I want to mention.
Okay.
Carmen Sandiego, Netflix made it into a cartoon. I mean, it originally wasn't a cartoon, but I loved that show.
Yeah.
I watched the shit out of that show as a child.
Yeah.
I loved it. And so I mean, I haven't watched it since, but I stumbled upon that when I was looking up reboots of cartoons, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's any good. And so I might have to check it out on Netflix as well and see if it's any good. And I'm like,
this relates back to our theme of nonfiction. That
yes,
two of our favorite shows as children, Magic School Bus and Carmen Sandiego, both taught us about science and geography and culture and stuff like that.
It sure did.
And true crime. I mean, Carmen
True
Sandiego,
crime, yeah.
Kind of a true crime story.
Oh, I love Carmen Sandiego. I wanted to be her so bad. I think I still want to be her.
I think
traveling and
a game, like a board game or something.
I think so.
And the criminals all had like punny names. It was all like a play on words. I can't think of them right now, but they all had like weird names. And the criminals were all like really dumb.
Well, I mean, it is true crime. Criminals tend to be dumb. Yeah. So there's a whole host of childhood cartoons that are being remade and soon to be remade.
Yeah, and I suppose it's because like everyone who was young then, or a lot of people who are young then, have children. Yeah. Even I have no children to share these with. So I don't know if like we should be offended or like I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can share them with my cousin's kids.
Hey, no, we'll just watch it on our own.
Yeah, but like if you need an excuse.
Oh. No.
Like my cousin who lost her mind over the Magic School Bus. I can imagine her sitting down with her niece and nephew and being like, here, we're going to watch the Magic School Bus and you're going to love it.
Or else.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell her. See what she says.
Yeah, I should ask her if she's watched it yet.
Share it on the next podcast.
You can have her as a guest.
Giving her so, what did you think?
How do you feel that this compares to your previous viewing of the Magic School Bus?
I wonder if they remake the actual episodes, like the whole body episode or...
Yeah. Also, those are books. I feel I should point this out because
yes, they still make the books. I think
they're in probably the 600s.
Yeah, 600 teens. Yeah.
That's if you're using the Dewey Decimal System. If you're using the Library of Congress, I can't help you.
We are not the people to ask.
No. Have you ever I don't understand. This is a major tangent, but I do not understand the Library of Congress classification.
Me neither. I just wrote the numbers down as a college student and linked to those numbers.
And there are letters. There are letters and numbers. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, but they don't use all the letters.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe that should be topic. I don't know. I don't know how.
We could do
That
a
would have to
deep
be if
dive.
we had a guest to explain it to us.
Yeah, we could have our friend Emily. She is a medical librarian.
Oh, yeah.
She could explain it to us.
Maybe she should be our first guest to explain the
Yeah, I'll ask her. Emily, do
Library
you
of
want to come on
Congress.
and explain Library of Congress classification? You know, they probably have like their own classification system in a medical school.
Well, that'd be a good question to ask as well. Like,
Yeah.
why? Well, that'd be all our questions. Why?
But why?
Why? Do you have any other questions or why?
Yeah. Did you know that there are
Why?
some libraries who do away with like traditional classification systems altogether and they just have like, here are the books on science?
You know,
Like,
I
what is this mess? Like, why would you do
I
that?
can't even stand our picture books that
Oh
we
my God.
catalog in just general ABC orders.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
no, 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 no,
Let me
no.
make this let me make this my rant for the episode.
Yeah, okay.
Picture book bins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We remodeled our libraries approximately 10 years ago. And at
Man,
that
that's so
time,
long ago. Yeah, it
I
is.
know,
I
doesn't
mean,
it feel like 2 years
it's
ago?
been, I mean, the referendum was in 2007, so it's been more than
I
10
am
years
like,
ago.
I am 3 months away from having worked for the library for 12 years. That's
You're
crazy.
old.
Yeah, thank you. Um,
Don't worry, I'm older, so.
yeah, picture book bins. Okay, so they installed these thinking, oh, children can see the front of a book and then they can just go pick a book and it's so much easier. Wrong.
Nope,
Here's why.
wrong.
We don't have enough bins for all of the picture books. Therefore, at one location in particular, like A through M are in picture book bins and N through Z are on regular shelves. Guess what gets checked out more?
A through M.
A through M. So when you run a list, when you run a report to weed based on circulation, guess what you're going to weed?
N
Everything
through
from N
Z.
to Z. Okay, so here's one reason why it's bad. Because honestly, kids don't care what book they check out.
No.
Also, if you need to find a specific book because someone has requested it, placed a hold on it, good luck. Because those will not be in order at all. Also, when the bins get full or like even close to full, you can't just flip through them because they're crammed in there so tightly, they don't move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you might as well just throw them all on the floor in a big pile
Yep.
and then like not allow holds to be placed on them because you're not going to find them anyway. So, picture book bins equal bad.
When I was the children's librarian at McClure and we got a new page in there, granted, McClure branch is is the smallest branch.
It's tiny. Mm-hmm.
Tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But we
It's
did
cute
have the
though.
overcrowding of the bins. I told my pages, yes, we don't strictly alphabetize them in like A, B, A, C,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like you to generally put them in some sort of order, not just clump A's, clump B's, so we can search them. And I held them to it. I didn't care what the head bosses.
Mm-hmm.
So McClure branch, I don't know what they are doing now, but I mean,
I don't know.
you know, we had it
It's
in some sort of
it's
order.
rough, especially in those letters like M and S where there tend to be a larger volume of books.
Yeah.
You know, like there are a lot of people with last names that start with M and F's.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you you can search like 5, 6, 8 bins looking for one book because it could be anywhere in those. And so, from a practical standpoint, picture book bins are bad. That
Yes,
is
I would
my
agree.
professional opinion. And I could play my master's degree librarian card here, even though I did not take classes in children's librarianship.
Yes, I would agree. In my practical children's librarian for 10
Now,
years.
there are probably an equal number of people on the other side of the argument
Yeah,
who think that they are wonderful. But those people also like annoy me for lots of other reasons too. So it's fine.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good rant. Um,
Mm-hmm. It
um,
felt good.
yeah, yes. I mean, yeah, there's lots of library things. Okay, just general rant and talking. The state of Illinois is in a tier 3 lockdown situation, so Peoria Public Library has, as of Monday today, November something,
23rd.
23rd, is going curbside
Yes.
up till January.
January 3rd, at least. I believe it will be reevaluated at that point to see
Okay.
if we need to continue or if we can reopen.
So that's about a month and 2 days, 6 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not like it didn't come as a huge surprise to me. I think we all saw the way the numbers were trending, and
yeah,
I'm grateful I still have a job. But it's just, it's been kind of interesting to like figure out how we can provide services to people. Like, I started doing adult craft kits with another staff member.
Yeah, I've seen those posted on Instagram and Facebook, and they're really neat.
Okay,
they're really great.
And we're gonna run out every single time because holy cow, they're flying off the shelves.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we just have to figure out like we have certain limitations, and so what can we do based on those limitations? And for a long time it was like make YouTube videos, but I don't think anyone's actually watching those. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work for very little return. But that being said, I'm probably going to help another library staff member make some videos that are like tours of the big cemetery in Peoria. Great big historical cemetery. We're going to make some videos about different parts of the cemetery. She has a lot of different topics lined up, and that'll be good for like virtual adult programming, but also just be good to have.
Yeah.
As just like a historical record.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so we're maybe going to do that if it's not too cold.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest time of year to try to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll be fine.
Yeah. Do what you can.
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
It's interesting. It's been an interesting year.
Yeah. Just no, and again, 2020, nobody knows what's going to happen, and everybody's just doing their best. Okay, so lockdown with the library, doing your best. Thanksgiving/Christmas isolation. You know what? I know it's time to be with your families, but better to stay at home by yourself or with just your immediate family, and not spread the possible coronavirus to anybody else.
So like we never celebrate with our extended family because no one gets along, and I'm like, well, hey, that's good this year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's actually advantageous to have like a messed up family this year.
Yeah.
So it'll just be me and my sisters and my parents and maybe my aunt.
Yeah.
And like we're all hanging out, except for my aunt. We're all hanging out together anyway. So
Yeah. And the vaccine is promising, but that will be like mid 2021 until most of us can maybe get it. So
yeah,
still
I'm ready.
isolate and wear your mask.
I'm ready for that vaccine.
Yeah.
I'm.
Yeah.
Tell me when and where I'll be there.
But just because it's here doesn't mean it's here for all of us. And so I feel like with Thanksgiving, Christmas, people are like, oh, it's a vaccine. We don't need to. You know, no. Stay the course, people. This is when you need to hold strong. Don't. No. Anyway, with Biden being the president-elect and there's talk of maybe potential student debt cancellations. Isn't that exciting?
Too late for me, but
too late for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I paid all of them.
I think it would really help the U.S. and our generation if there could be a lot of student debt. And, you know, I think that even if it's not.
There is a program currently in place that I learned about like 5-6 years ago. I don't know. And it's if you work in a public service, so like I qualify because I work for the library, and you have worked there for 10 years, then you can get your loans forgiven.
Well, that's good.
Only after 10 years.
Yeah.
Guess what? I had paid off all my loans by then.
By then.
So it didn't help me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it might help somebody else, but you know, in the grander scheme of things, you know, it could help at least morally help the country. And I think that could be a huge thing too. Anyway.
Now, can I get my car loan forgiven?
That would be nice too. All debt forgiven. Please. Seriously.
Or like a free house.
Yeah. All mortgages, all car payments, all medical debt.
But only if you make under 400,000.
Yes, that would be nice. That'd be nice. I mean, that'd be a big boost for the economy too, because then people could like buy a house.
Spend our money on other things.
Yeah. So you watching Mandalorian season 2?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just want somebody to do like, I mean, I know it's Mandalorian season 2, but can we just do like Baby Yoda season forever and just clips of him cooing and like his reaction to like
that's a really good idea. Like a screensaver kind of thing.
Yes, and just his like, oh my daddy, like, killing somebody just
at Christmas time. You can do like a Yule log on your TV. What if you could just do Baby Yoda on your TV?
That would be amazing.
That's a really good idea.
I know. Disney, do it.
Yeah. Whoever's listening out there that works for Disney.
Yes. I mean, I love the show's great, but I just love half of it to me is just watching, you know, the child's reaction to what's going on. Like,
and he is really like growing this year.
Yeah.
And he's getting to the point where like, because in this latest episode, we discovered like he doesn't really know his colors. We know that he doesn't know the word no. Like he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. He is truly a little child who is just learning. And Mando needs to like try harder. I don't know. Like he needs to have more discipline.
Yeah. I haven't watched this episode so I'm 2 episodes behind, I guess. I watched the first 2. And I just I love when he was eating. I don't want to spoil anything. Well, this is not spoiling.
Really
I
naughty.
loved when when they were in the bar with when they were in the first episode when they're in the bar and they were trying to find that other Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and the dragon comes and the dragon leaves, and then Baby Yoda's in the like spittoon, peeks his head out, and
He's
then the
hiding
second
in the spittoon.
episode, Baby Yoda keeps eating the eggs. I'm like, these are her only eggs. The episode's going to end, and there's going to be like 2 eggs left. And
did you know that some people were like very upset by that?
I'm not surprised, because it's
But
the
like
end
made it a
of their
whole thing.
line, and Baby Yoda's eating all these.
Well,
Like,
keep watching and you'll feel better.
okay. Well, I mean, I don't care either way, but I was like,
Yeah.
just stop him from eating just don't be like, stop eating it. Be like, hide him, lock the case or something, because that baby's eating all the eggs.
Yeah. My sister just kept yelling, he's so naughty.
Like, he is.
Just a naughty toddler.
Amando's like, don't eat the eggs, and then goes like,
yeah, like pulls it out of his pocket.
Oopsie. I know, I was like, you bad baby.
He's so bad.
I know, he's so cute though. He's so cute. I just want to watch. I don't care about those stories. I just watch Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Anyway, anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, well then I guess we're done. Bye.
All right. If you've made it this far, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Yes.
We'll probably have another episode before Christmas, but everybody have a good Thanksgiving, or we hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Maybe we could do like a best Christmas gift, our gift guide, our holiday gift guide.
Oh yeah,
that can be our next episode.
Yes. Yes. Gift giving in the season.
Gift giving in the age of COVID.
There you go. Best online Black Friday deals. Where can you get them at? Yeah, we'll do something like that. But everybody, hope you have a safe holiday, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to our random thoughts and musings. Join us next time for more unpredictable conversations.